My little buddy and yours, the slow turtle, is going to help us understand why the sum of the measures of the exterior angles of a polygon is always 360 degrees. So let's imagine that we have some particular polygon. I'm looking at a pentagon here. A pentagon has 5 sides and 5 angles, and let's go ahead and label the angles or the corners of this figure. We're going to label them A1, A2, A3, all the way around the figure until we get back to the 5th and final angle, A5. There's several things that we do with the angles in a polygon, or what we're going to call the interior angles of a polygon. Sometimes what we want to do is figure out those interior angles separately, though we usually have to have some kind of special polygon to be able to do that. Sometimes we're interested in the sum of all the different measures of the interior angles, and fortunately we don't need a special polygon for that, but unfortunately we do need a particular formula. The formula is not terribly difficult, but I want to pause on that and come back to that later, and I want to consider for a moment one particular polygon. So let's actually think about this pentagon and its angle measures. I'm just going to go ahead and give you what those measures are. A4, as I just marked, is a 90-degree angle, but then otherwise we're going to have 110 degrees, 160 degrees, 100 degrees, the aforementioned right angle at A4, 90 degrees, and then finally, for a reason we can discuss in a second, we have to have an 80-degree angle at A5. Now again, these are what are called interior angles, but oftentimes we're also interested in the exterior angles. One thing to be careful about right off the bat is the exterior angle is not what you might expect, the total remaining angle outside of whatever's on the inside. I know its name makes it sound like it should be that, but it's not. Instead, by exterior angle, what we mean is if you imagine continuing the side length that forms that particular angle, the part on the outside is going to be what we call the exterior angle. So we're not going all the way around the figure, we're looking at a linear pair, 2 angles that make a line, 2 angles that have measures with a sum of 180 degrees. In this case, that means we have a 70-degree angle outside of the 110-degree angle. Again, these two have to add up to 180. If we extend the next side from the 160, we also get a 20-degree angle. If we extend the side at A3, we're going to get an 80-degree angle. If we extend the side at A4, we get another 90-degree angle, another right angle. And then finally, if we extend at A5, we get 100 degrees. Now, because this is one particular polygon, if we're interested in the sum, we could literally just add these numbers together. 100 plus 70 plus 20 plus 80 plus 90 adds up to 360 degrees. And maybe that number is significant to us, maybe not, but it is what it is if we just actually add those exterior angle measures. This is fine as far as it takes you, but there are 2 problems. First of all, we had to do a lot of actual work with the numbers here to come up with our answer, and second of all, that means we needed the numbers in the first place. This process doesn't feel like we can make it very general. If I want to do this for any polygon, much less any pentagon, I'm going to need some more generalities. So first things first, let's get away from the idea that we know what these actual angles are. We can still name them. So for example, I'm going to keep the names pretty simple. I'm going to call the measure at angle 1, the number of degrees that angle takes up, A1. Little a though, to distinguish it from the corner, big A1. And then as you might imagine, I'm just going to go around the figure and name these others A2, A3, A4, little a's the entire time, finishing up with little A5. Now, those exterior angles that we were looking at earlier, we can also state in this more general form, thinking about the fact that the 2 angles, the interior plus the exterior, have to make a linear pair. That is, their measures have to add up to 180 degrees. So for example, this exterior angle at A1 has to have a measure of 180 minus A1, whatever that is, depending of course on the actual figure. Now if I go all the way around the figure doing that same thing, I once again end up with 5 different measures. But these measures are stated a little bit more generally, 180 minus A1, 180 minus A2, and so on all the way around the figure until I get 180 minus A5. And remember, what we're interested in is finding the sum of these different exterior angles. You'll notice at this point that my sum basically ends up with 2 parts. There are the 580s coming from the 5 exterior angles that I'm adding together, and then there is the bit that I'm subtracting away over and over again, the bit that actually ends up being the sum of A1 through A5, the sum of the interior angles for this pentagon, whatever its angles actually are. Now I'm going to use just a bit of mathematical symbolism in order to bring these 2 things together. I'm going to use this symbol that stands for a summation. I know it kind of looks like an E, but it actually comes comes from the Greek capital S essentially, and we let it stand for sum. I need to have an index variable that tells me which of these angles I'm at. Am I at angle 1? Am I at angle 2? And so on all the way around the figure. I need to know how many times to iterate. For a pentagon, we're going to go around the figure for 5 different corners, and so we're going to take the sum from 1 to 5. And then of course there is the bit I'm taking the sum of. Now in this case, it always ended up being 180 minus whatever particular interior angle we were looking at that time. So in general form, that's going to be minus a sub k, where k again is varying from 1 to 5. Now with that bit of mathematical symbolism taken care of, let's talk about what it does for us. Summations like this are actually allowed to be split across addition and subtraction. So this is the same thing as the sum from 1 to 5 of 180. That is a 180 plus a 180 plus a 180 plus a 180 plus a 180 5 times, minus the sum from, again, 1 to 5 of the actual interior angles themselves, which again we're calling a sub k. The sum from 1 to 5 of 180, again, actually just means add 180 to itself 5 times, or of course we can write this as 5 times 180. We'll worry about computing that in a moment. For the sum from 1 to 5 of a sub k, we can also take a little bit of a shortcut. This is actually just the sum of the measures of the interior angles for a pentagon. So as long as we know that, we know how to find this particular value. For a reason we'll get back to in just one second, that happens to be 540. All pentagons have the same interior angle measure sum. It's always 540 degrees. And so 5 times 180 is 900, and 900 minus those 540 degrees makes, unsurprisingly, the same 360 degree answer that we came up with a moment ago. You'll note, however, this time we didn't need the actual angle measures to come up with that 360 degrees. It came fundamentally from 2 pieces of information. The number of corners on the pentagon, that's where we got the 5 in the 5 times 180, and that sum of the measures of the interior angles of a pentagon, which we just said was 540, but we're not necessarily sure where that's coming from right now. Let's go ahead and tackle that just briefly. Why is it that I would know a pentagon is going to have a total among its interior angle measures of 540 degrees? The trick is triangles. Pick any particular corner in your pentagon. It doesn't matter which one you're starting at, but I'll just start at the one that we called A1 a moment ago. A1, of course, is already connected to 2 of the corners in the pentagon, so those 2 we're going to leave alone. We don't need anything there. But we are going to go ahead and connect it to the other corners it's not connected to in the pentagon, which in this case is just the other 2 corners. You can see that what that ends up doing is splitting the pentagon into 3 separate triangles. And every triangle has a sum among its interior angle measures of 180 degrees. That's like the definitional thing that makes a triangle in the plane. 180 plus 180 plus 180, or 180 times 3, is that 540 degrees that we came up with a moment ago for the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a pentagon. Now, importantly, we can extend this for any particular n-gon. This doesn't only work for pentagons. Imagine that our original figure was actually a hexagon. From that same A1 corner we started at a moment ago, we could draw yet another line, and it would generate an additional triangle. One additional triangle means one additional set of interior angle measures that add up to 180 degrees. It's also the case that you can see the number of triangles there, 4 now, is still just 2 less than the number of sides in the figure. This is where we get this special formula for the sum of the measures of the interior angles for any particular simple convex polygon. Don't come at me in the comments with your weird complex concave polygons. But for basically nice shapes, the sum of the measures of the interior angles of that particular shape is going to be 180 times n minus 2. The 180 coming from the sum for a triangle, and the n minus 2 giving us the number of triangles that we can generate within any particular shape. So here's why this matters to us. Imagine that we now have some n-gon. It's not even necessarily a pentagon anymore. It just has some number of angles. We can't even actually see what's going on up here. Maybe there are 5 sides, 7 sides, maybe there are 1,007 sides. We don't know. We can still label our corners A1, A2, A3, but as we go around, we don't know how many different corners there are. And so when we come back to some final corner over here, let's just call that A sub n, where n is the n of the the n-gon. If it's an octagon, n is 8. If it's a decagon, n is 10. If it's a 13gon, n is 13, of course. Using the kind of symbols we used a second ago, we can say the sum from 1 to n, where n is now the number of sides or number of corners of that simple convex polygon, of the different angle measures a sub k, is equal to that formula 180 times the quantity n minus 2. The sum for the exterior angles, of course, is the sum of the supplements of all these different angles. So that is, it's the sum from 1 to n of 180 minus a sub k. We can split this up into the sum from 1 to n of 180 minus the sum from 1 to n of a sub k, and this is where we get to do some substitution. The sum from 1 to n for a constant like 180 is just 180 times n. It's a pentagon, there are 5 180s we're adding together, that's 5 times 180. If it's a decagon, that's 10 times 180 and so on. For our general n-gon here, that's going to be 180 times n. Minus the sum from 1 to n of a sub k is simply 180 times the quantity n minus 2. And lastly, let's distribute and simplify. 180n minus 180n, coming from our distribution here, 180 times n, plus, because now we're distributing minus 180 to minus 2, which makes positive 360. And of course, 180n minus 180 makes 0, and so you can see after all that work, all we have left is 360. That is, we don't even need a formula for the sum of the measures of the exterior angles for a polygon. We can do better than that. We can do an answer. The answer is 360 degrees no matter how you slice it. No matter how many sides there are to the polygon, how many angles there are, the sum of the measures of those exterior angles will always be 360 degrees. Whew, okay. Now, if you're like me, that was a lot of symbols to get to just a simple numeric answer. And wouldn't it be nice if we just had an intuition for why we should have expected from the very beginning that this answer was just going to be 360 degrees, which is suspiciously related to a circle, right? Doesn't a circle have 360 degrees? And so in walks the slow turtle. The slow turtle is a slow but very determined turtle who is simply going to begin from one corner of a polygon and walk all the way around it one time. Now, as you might imagine, the more sides there are to the polygon, the longer a path the turtle is going to end up taking. And the more angles the turtle is going to turn through while he walks around the polygon. Now, you might think since he's rotating through more angles, he ends up going through more degrees. And so just like the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a polygon gets bigger as the number of sides grows bigger, shouldn't we also expect the exterior angle measure sum to grow bigger? But as we've already seen, we know it didn't grow bigger. It's 360 no matter what. If we bring these angles to the center, we can see exactly why that is. No matter what the shape is, no matter how many sides it has, once the turtle gets back to where it started, even though its path might be longer or shorter, the actual rotation is the same every time. By the time the turtle gets back to where he started, he will have made one full turn, no matter how many angles he broke that turn up into. The slow turtle gives us an intuition for precisely why we should be expecting that 360-degree sum in the first place. What does this communicate? To me, it communicates the value of looking for intuitions behind surprising results. More sides means more angles means a greater number of degrees on the interior of a figure and the exterior of a figure makes sense to me. And yet, when we analyze it symbolically or otherwise, we find it's not true. The sum of the measures on the interior of a figure does grow as the number of sides grow, but it does not grow on the exterior. The slow turtle is an example of how we can find intuitive explanations for unintuitive results. I hope you, like me, love the slow turtle, and if you do, I have put him on a t-shirt. You can check that out. There's going to be a link in the description or like a shop thing you can click on. If you have any other thoughts or questions, drop them down in the comments below, and otherwise I will see y'all next time. I forgot to do this earlier. White balance. I can fly twice as high. I love to balance white all up in the air.